rest it on your right leg like this, to jam it into your leg like this, or to actually use your thumb and your pinky to hold the controller in place while you're pressing these buttons like this. And the second thing is, I would like an option where this controller was kind of more flat on the right side. It's like they've gone for this 6-face button style, but they've still left this handle here. So if you're doing the hand over style, it doesn't really balance on your leg very well. The original Fighting Commander, they had a Pro version, which is a little bit more flat, and it didn't really have this handle here. That controller was better designed for people who are actually going to leave it on their leg. Honestly, it's very uncommon for a pad controller to have clicky buttons, so it feels very luxurious indeed. But the thing about clicky buttons is that even if you have it on an arcade stick, usually there's quite a bit of travel to the button. You can't really see it from here, but there's very, very little travel. It's basically, there's no travel before the click begins, and then it clicks in. So it doesn't feel like the few millimeters of travel that you get on a Sanwa button from an arcade stick. This kind of clickiness is a lot closer to something you'd expect from a laptop chiclet style keyboard, which is really strange at first, but you do get used to it. Weirdly, my opinion is actually that it doesn't need clicky buttons. It's kind of nice when you open it out the box and you're like, whoa, my pad controller has clicky buttons. But honestly, I feel like clickiness actually belongs on the left side where the D-pad is. When you're like hitting buttons from high up, or just, you're putting, quite a lot of force into pressing these buttons, it's kind of unsatisfying to not have a lot of travel. But one thing I will say about that is actually that because there isn't very much travel, it kind of encourages you to press these buttons more lightly. And in a way, that means you're going to be more efficient energy-wise. One more cool benefit of having 6 face buttons on the front of your pad is that you can now use your shortcuts using a single finger. So when you go over to do something like a throw, you just smack it with your index finger like this. And when you want to do a V skill, I just use my middle finger, press both, and then I can do my V skill like this. And when you want to do your V trigger, you can just smack R1 and R2, again, with just a single finger like this. Also, one thing you might be interested to know if you're using a controller like this is that you can also slide your fingers over the buttons. So if you're playing a game like Vampire